Good morning. We are getting ready to make gingerbread cookies, but not just any gingerbread cookies, the Grand Floridian's gingerbread cookies. We just stopped by there last week and we actually got gingerbread cookies at the Polynesian, but I'm pretty sure they all use the same recipe. So just Google Grand Floridian gingerbread cookies and this recipe is online. Actually has a lot of ingredients, so this is definitely not going to be a simple recipe. But it's butter, confectionery sugar, eggs, flour, cinnamon, ground coriander, star anise, I had to order that online, baking powder, fennel, which I also ordered online, salt, organic ginger, well, any ginger, ground cloves, and mace, which is another one my husband found online. So these 3 cool jars, it's just not something our local grocery store carries, but maybe you have a better grocery store in your area. If not, let's see, Google Red Stick Spice Co. It's a pretty good deal. Anyway, I'm gonna start the recipe. Look at this, all these instructions. So the first one, combine butter and sugar in bowl of electric mixer and beat until smooth, and then beat in eggs. All right, let me get started. It was 1 cup butter, which is 2 sticks of butter softened, and then 2.5 cups of the confectionery sugar. Started blending that, and then when it's looking pretty blended, then we'll slowly add the 2 eggs. The butter and the powder looks really good blended together. Now I'm gonna add the eggs and let that blend together. So Robert just added all the spices for me. He says the mace tastes like nutmeg. So if you can't find mace, we're pretty confident nutmeg would be a good substitute. So let me just go over the quantities of this. So these are all the dry ingredients and you're supposed to sift them together. We will whisk them together, but I just wanted to show you in a bowl. So it's 3 2/3 cups all-purpose flour, and then we're kind of going counterclockwise here. 2 1/2 teaspoon ground cinnamon, 2 1/4 teaspoon ground coriander, 2 teaspoons ground star anise, 1 1/4 teaspoon baking powder, 1 teaspoon ground fennel, 1 teaspoon ground ginger, 1 teaspoon ground cloves, 1/2 teaspoon salt, and then the last one was the 1/4 teaspoon ground mace. So sift all these dry ingredients together, and then you add the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients with your mixer on low until it forms the dough. This is all the wet ingredients blended together really well, and now I am going to slowly add the dry ingredients off camera because I love my KitchenAid mixer, but it's extremely loud and can't really do this one-handed, so I need both hands, but you get the idea. I'm sure you've all made cookies before. Slowly add the dry into the wet. All right, this is the dough mixed together. I recommend use large eggs. We end up having to add another egg and 1/4 cup water to get the dough to stick together. So we kind of just think it's because my eggs were really small. Just remember, it's a pretty dry dough, but that's kind of how gingerbread normally works. I know a lot of gingerbread recipes use molasses. This one doesn't. That's right, Robert, it's molasses gingerbread normally has?
Correct, and the reason I don't believe they use molasses in this is because this is what they use to build the big gingerbread house. So they need something a little sturdier.
Okay.
Because regular gingerbread is soft, and you couldn't build a huge house like that.
Okay,
on
so that's why
so soft.
It's slightly different than a typical gingerbread recipe. So now we're gonna wrap it in plastic wrap and refrigerate it 2 to 4 hours until firm. The gingerbread dough has been in the refrigerator for 3 hours. We just took it out. You let it sit at room temperature for 10 minutes so it softens slightly. Cut it in half, which my husband just did, and put half back in the fridge, and then roll the other half. It's easier just to do it in 2 batches. So wrap the other one back up, and then you're gonna roll that one. Don't point that knife at me, honey bunny. So Robert rolled out the dough. You're supposed to roll it 1/8 inch thick. And he had to roll it for me because it is super hard dough and I am a wimpy individual. So Robert rolled it out, and now we just got small gingerbread men, and we're gonna cut them out and put them on the cookie sheet. No, no, push it down with your
Just gotta
hand.
hammer them out.
I'm just watching Robert do the hard part. The cookie dough, the raw cookie dough, tastes really good. So hopefully that means the cookies themselves baked will taste really, really good. The cookies need to be baked at 350 degrees for 10 to 14 minutes. The recipe said when the cookie starts to harden and the edges start to darken. Since it's already a brown cookie, sometimes they're a little harder to tell when they're done, but we'll see. And I could fit 6 to a sheet. There's still lots of dough left, so I imagine this can make over 2 dozen cookies. This is at 14 minutes. The edges are only slightly brown, but the bottoms are very brown. I don't want the bottoms to burn, so I'm just gonna assume they're done. And so these are non-decorated. I'm going to ice them tomorrow. The next batch we are going to decorate. The instructions said brush a little milk on them and then sprinkle Christmas sugar, colored sugar on it before baking. And so we are going to try that with the next batch that Robert is currently rolling out right now. Just going to let these cool for a minute, and then I'm going to move them over to my cookie cooling racks. This is the next batch, so Robert is brushing them with milk. I think you could also use butter to get it to stick, but we're using what the recipe says, and it said milk. And then sprinkle the Christmas sugar. Robert likes a lot of sugar.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it right, doggone it. Otherwise, what's the point? Darn right, I like sugar on my gingerbread man. Darn tootin'.
I'm just gonna go with a white glaze icing tomorrow. I'm not doing it tonight because it's already like 10:30. By the time the second and third batch is done, it's gonna be like 11, and I'm tired. Don't forget that one.
Yeah, I'll get to him later.
All right.
He's an exception.
Saving him for later.
Yeah.
All right, here is the next 12 with the sugar. Lots and lots of sugar. We'll see how these turn out. All right, well, while Robert is working on that third batch, taste test time. This is the first batch. Cool down a little. It's good. It's good. Take a bite. I ate his head. You think we should cook it less? That was 14 minutes.
I like it. You gotta remember,
You want it crunchy.
this is what they build the house with.
It's very firm.
That's the point. You can't have it.
I can see these being sturdy to hold up.
Yeah. If it had the molasses, it wouldn't survive. I like it.
So far, it makes 3 dozen cookies with a little left over. But we only can fit 6 to a pan, honey, so you don't have to do anything with that last ball if you don't want to. Or you can. And put it on a pizza oven sheet. I don't know.
I'm gonna make a gingerbread house out of it.
We're gonna make a mini gingerbread house out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a good recipe if you actually want to make a gingerbread house.
That's the reason they do it, I think. They use the correct ingredients or the correct spices that make it taste like it has molasses in it. Yet it has to be structurally firm.
It's still soft in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I could have cooked it a little less so it wasn't so brown on the bottom. Remember, it said 10 to 14 minutes, and I ended up cooking it for 14 minutes. So if you don't like it that brown, do like 12 minutes. It actually just depends on your oven. My oven just never does what you know what I'm saying? Am I in your rolling station way?
You are.
All right.
Trying to build a house here.
I'm eating this whole cookie. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
All right, we're taste testing the one with sugar. As you can see, Robert left me a little bitty bite.
I like
Apparently,
it.
he really likes them.
I like gingerbread.
I like the sugar on it. It just
Oh.
reminds me of a sugar cookie, though.
What were you expecting?
All right. So, thoughts and opinions. This definitely isn't like a typical gingerbread cookie. Like if you think like what is it, Robert? Like sometimes gingerbread cookies are like too strong and overpowering.
Yeah, most of them are very strong, overpowering, and they taste like molasses. It's like you like took a swig of molasses or something.
So these aren't.
I mean, that's my opinion.
So these still have a hint of ginger, have a hint of all those spices we added. Definitely get the Christmas feel. And I really, really like them. So when we were at Disney last week, we bought 2 different gingerbread cookies. We bought one at the Riviera and we bought one at the Polynesian. And they were both good, but they were extremely strong.
Yes, they were.
And a little bit bitter. So if that's not really your thing, these cookies would be absolutely great because they're mild, but yet they're still a gingerbread, if that makes sense. So I will definitely bake these again. And yeah, anything else, Robert?
I have nothing to add.
Nothing to add. As I stuff my mouth. So anyway, thanks for watching. I know I look a little tired, but
It's because you are.
it's 11 o'clock at night. I don't know why I decided to bake cookies.
I'm surprised you followed through. 'Cause
Well-
I thought you'd probably say, "Oh, let's do it tomorrow." I was hoping that's what was going to happen. And I'm like, well, that's fine. No, you want to cook them tonight? That's fine.
We started baking at 5 p.m. I forgot that this is the dough, a type of dough that has to be refrigerated. Not all cookie dough
You know
has
what,
to be
though?
refrigerated, but some do.
When you refrigerate it, though,
What happened to
realize it's
his
got-
legs?
Don't worry about him. When you refrigerate it, that's fine and dandy, but when you roll it out, it's got to be almost room temperature. That's what I don't like because it's that cold. It cracks. It's a pain in the butt to work with. But then when it starts warming up, and
Yeah.
I mean, warmer to where you can really roll it out, then it's
Yeah.
at its best. So I don't know if you really need to refrigerate it that long.
Yeah, maybe an hour is all you need. Definitely, if you like refrigerated it overnight, you need to take it out and let it sit on the counter for like 10 to 20 minutes before you can start rolling it. But
It's hard otherwise. It was challenging for me because it kept breaking, and I'm like, oh no, it crawled these cracks. These things are gonna like crap.
I'm so glad he rolled the dough out for me because that's my least favorite thing to do when making cookies. I love like stirring all the ingredients, putting it on the cookie sheet, but actually rolling it out
And I don't make cookies, so when I'm rolling it and I see all these cracks, I'm like, what the heck just happened?
I told him not to
And I'm
worry
like,
about
I was thinking to myself, I don't ever want to do this again because I suck at it. But I didn't realize
the edges always crack.
because it was so cold.
Anyway, we're going off on a tangent. Long story short,
So cold.
these cookies are excellent. You only need to refrigerate it for about an hour. And yeah, give it a shot. If I talk too quickly over the ingredients, all you have to do is Google Grand Floridian's gingerbread cookies. You'll find the recipe right off the bat. It's a popular recipe. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas, and we will see you later.